Apparently, people are review bombing the enhanced edition of GTA 5 on PC.
I haven't. I've seen GTA 5 been coming up in the news,
Uh-huh.
so I could only imagine what that's
There are
about.
so there are like
enhanced edition.
Yeah, because not because it doesn't look or run better than the legacy version, but because they can't transfer their old accounts. Fair.
Yes.
And they
wait, what?
Yeah. But no, more importantly, they removed the text chat from the online portion.
Oh, great.
That affects like role play and shit.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that sounds pretty...
That affects two types of people, and
Yeah.
they both start with the letter R. And it's role play, and it's you guys can figure it out at home.
What I was just gonna ask, like, do you ever leave that shit on in anything?
No.
That's probably the first option I look for.
Like,
well, that and voice chat.
No, I leave it on.
Fuck all of it.
I leave text chat on.
You really just want to
bask
in those
I'm a glutton
slurs?
for punishment.
Yeah, if it's like a town chat in like an MMO.
Oh,
or something,
yeah.
But I can't remember. Like it's been so long since I played a game.
I played League
Oh,
with
right.
Dan, former guest, like 2 weeks ago, and he has his text chat off. And I was like, Dan, they're calling you bad. And he's like, I turned the text chat off. I was like, I know, I'm just letting you know that they're calling you bad.
Okay, you know, right? Okay, so you that reminds me.
Yeah.
I actually do in CS
All right.
because
well, like they'll do that in Siege too, where they'll tell if you're like the last one left alive, they'll tell you where someone is or something like that.
Well, no. It's actually I have the enemy team muted. Only sometimes do I have to mute my own team.
They got to play music over your dead body.
Well, so the people that I play with have a lot more free time, and they have been playing the game longer. So like I have peaks where you think I have like 20,000 hours in that game, but equivocally I have lows where you think it's like my first day playing. So when I play really poorly, I am on a hair trigger. Even if my team fucking says something, I pop off. So I have to do that for the people I play with safety because I don't know how to shut up. I drive it into the ground. So much so, one time I ripped this dude apart, and by the end of the game, we won because we were down like 4-11. And I was like, hey, man, sorry. But also, fuck you.
So I always thought it was weird. I remember playing Overwatch, and that just had a world chat on the main menu. And I never really knew what the purpose of that was. But it was pretty funny in match when our friend Conroy, hopefully future guest of the show, would just start narrating matches in text chat while we like in the middle of the game while everyone's playing.
Yeah, but the GTA 5 like account transfer stuff is
no, that's shitty. There's also people mad that it has been now a year and 4 months since there has been any news on 6.
Yeah.
And it's apparently still coming this year.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
I saw a bunch of AI trailers.
They don't need...
Great. Right. Awesome.
They don't... But, like, let's be honest here. They don't need to say anything.
They also don't.
Yeah.
Like, historically, they didn't do that with 5. They didn't do it
they
with
never
Red Dead 2.
Yeah, they're Rockstar.
You'll get around E3 time, maybe you'll get another story trailer, and then like 3 weeks before the game comes out,
that's when they'll do their breakdown.
When did 5 come out?
2013. Okay, September.
Right. So it's been roughly 12 years.
Yeah.
Let's just think about how much internet culture has evolved since then.
I know.
And a lot of it's still the same, but isn't it crazy to think in 12 years how many more people are aligned and how many more people are shitty in the world, period?
Do you remember that there was a mission?
That's why there's so much uproar.
There was a mission in GTA 5 where you essentially blew up Mark Zuckerberg's head.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was the head of whatever their Facebook parody was called. It was like Stalk something. You remember? Face Stalker? I think that was it. Yeah. And you put a bomb on his cell phone on stage while he's like showing off the new iPhone, and then it blows his skull out. And,
I mean, fingers crossed, man.
So Easter's coming up, which will be relevant to our topic today, as that gives you guys, if that gives you guys any hints. Yeah, no, not Silent Hill, because I kept this one a surprise. I wanted it to be a secret, as the story is crazy, and I thought going in cold would be funnier, and B, it's about a game that you both played and I didn't. Although I do have a role in this. We'll get to that. Also, what's interesting is that we aren't going to discuss its development or really much of its release, but rather its pre-release advertising lunacy of a campaign. probably the most insane marketing I have ever witnessed, and all funded by Electronic Arts, no less. For you see, back in 2009, a strange, blasphemous-infused series of stunts centered around the lengthy, bombastic promotion of a particular action-adventure title based off a certain 14th century Italian poem. As a result, it would run into not one, not two, not even three, but numerous controversies. And we can thank the tragically now defunct studio Visceral for gifting us with the 7 deadly sins of Dante's Inferno.
Oh,
yeah. Grab your scythes and holy water, because this week we're diving into the deep, dark layers of hell, and to find out what happens when a PR team dedicates itself to harassing the press, public, and advocacy groups on their tender, modest sensibilities. This is Hot Button. I'm here with my sacrilegious buddies, Austin Blakesley.
I'm a good Christian boy.
And Sean Chambers.
Down with Jesus.
Let's get evil.
Okay.
Let's go back to
excited?
when games were fun.
Yeah. Now, I will let y'all talk about the game itself, of course, but primarily the focus is going to be on these weird-ass stints to drum up notoriety. Brief summary, Dante's Inferno, the video game, was made by Visceral Games, formerly EA Redwood Shores prior to the rebranding. The fine folks behind many beloved and varied releases, including 007 Agent Under Fire and Everything or Nothing, also from Russia with Love. The Tiger Woods PGA Tours, the Lord of the Rings movie tie-ins, the Godfather game, the Simpsons game, the Dead Space and Army of Two franchises. These people ruled, and it's such a fucking shame how they went out with a whimper, with Battlefield Hardline was their last, an unceremonious demise that we can clearly point fingers to their publisher EA for, the then distributors of Dante's Inferno. Like they were able to launch entirely original IPs on the reg and to commercial and critical acclaim. Not to harp on their undeserved treatment and closure, as on this episode, I want to keep it tight on just these select months or so, 7 to be exact. Of course, the in-game's narrative is loosely adapted from Inferno, the first cantica of Dante Alighieri's The Divine Comedy. Hopefully I got that right. In which a
Alighieri.
In which a Templar knight of the medieval crusades traverses and fights through the 9 circles of the underworld alongside his guide Virgil in order to rescue his wife Beatrice from the clutches of Lucifer.
Fuck yeah. That's heavy metal. I'm doing devil horns right now. And that's like the lamest shit in metal. But like, yeah.
No, I love it. I'm bringing it
fucking
back.
Metal.
It's widely told to be one of the absolute greatest works of Western literature. I should read it.
What, Dante's Inferno?
Yeah.
The game?
No. The gameplay, all of you dudes describe it, is somewhat akin to God of War, correct? Yeah.
Not somewhat akin.
Okay.
It's God of War.
Kind of hack and slashy.
Yeah.
There's button combos and a multiplier, finishers, upgrades, and unlockable
You know
abilities.
this trend in this industry when a game comes out and it's like really impactful and it like makes its mark, and then every other company is trying to capitalize on it by tying that into something. Well,
right. It's its own genre. It's like
all
Souls-like.
things considered, like it's literally like Kratos is going after the gods from like
Greek
mythology.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a far like
You're
stretch,
right?
right? So, but it is like, I think in tone it was way more hardcore, and like for somebody, no,
it's like a lateral move.
Okay.
God of War is a little bit more hardcore in some aspects, but
Which one's angrier?
God of War.
Think?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a revenge tale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember too much about it, but how many boobs were in that one?
God of War?
No, the other one.
Oh, there's more
Dante's
boobs
Inferno?
in Dante's
Yeah.
Inferno.
There's only one pair.
There's penises, too.
There's one pair of human
Scorn
boobs
has the,
Yeah.
in Dante's Inferno.
Oh, Beatrice's boobs.
Yes, but then there's also like
We'll get to that.
the second layer of hell is lust, and
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of
I mean,
there's a lot of boob monsters
it should come
spitting
as no
babies out of their
surprise.
nipples.
Yeah.
I couldn't get past the second level.
Hard. It's a hard game to play with one hand.
Yeah.
No,
But yeah, it was a hack and slash adventure game that had jump puzzles and like
It's
all
somebody
that
literally walked into a room and
There's
said,
a
"What
lot
if
of
we
it.
made God of War but with Christianity?"
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we get to the events that brought us here, let it be said that this game was not asking, but begging for backlash. Very atypical of EA's usual catalog. This thing was violent, sexy, disgusting, edgy, and cool. Just to set the tone. Really flex that M rating, push the boundaries of taste. To kick off our venture, the sin of envy. That's where they started. This back in June of 2009 at E3. Also, this endeavor was probably their most well-known of the stunts. You can likely guess what I'm alluding to.
So, wait, really quick before you move on. So, they had basically, they planned out 7 campaign, checkpoints.
Yes.
And they hit every deadly sin along the way.
Yeah, that was their goal. That was the mission.
I wasn't really embroiled in paying attention to marketing campaigns.
No, I was not as chronically on. This was more like you would only know about this as the press reported it.
Right.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. It's better to elaborate. So this was right outside the LA Convention Center. A posse of around 20 individuals formed a protest, allegedly against the subject matter of the game. Their picketing signs and talks with local news stated that the angry mob, codename Saved, SAVED. I don't know what it's
was it Students Against Violent Entertainment?
You're probably pretty close. I could not find what the acronym
stupid ass what it stood for.
Yeah. But they were from a church in Ventura County. Those interviewed were claiming the title's content was insensitive to their core beliefs. Some even went so far to call EA the Antichrist, which is funny when you consider how customers would later feel about the company and their egregious
EA,
business
not
practices.
AC. I could understand the confusion. They do suck shit. They have killed a lot of companies in their time.
Yeah, which one's worse? And you can find this footage on YouTube, by the way. The aforementioned sign spouted phrases like, quote, trade in your PlayStation for a PlayStation.
I remember that.
Yeah,
nice.
Cute. Brochures were handed out that warned, quote, a video game hero does not have the authority to save and damn. Only God can judge, and he will not judge the sinners who play this game kindly.
Guess I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
One protester, Matthew Francis, exclaimed to a reporter that a cross being featured as a weapon was particularly upsetting.
It's a nerd's name.
Yeah.
He's a nerd for sure. Sorry.
No, totally
Take that one again.
Concluding,
that's crazy that this is the first video game to ever feature a cross as a weapon.
Yeah,
never before.
Castlevania.
Listen, I've never seen that personally.
No.
You guys know. First time.
Yeah.
Concluding his take with, quote, we think this game should never come out, and then to forward his message to any executives inside on the showroom floor.
Hey, guess what? You know what my personal take is?
Yeah.
I think Jesus should have never came out.
Which time?
Of the hole.
Dude,
Behind the fucking in the cave.
Happy Easter.
Yeah.
So this was since non-industry professionals at that point were permitted to enter without the proper credentials. So they continued to march and shout. They're just jealous, man. Envious.
Is it? Are you getting there? I don't want to cut you off, but this is paid, right? These people don't exist. Okay.
Yeah, my sniffer really did perk up when you said that it was 20 people. It's like you could totally pay those people to just fake anti-protest.
How much cocaine went into the line trade the PlayStation for a PlayStation? How many grams?
Yeah.
You just hire one good comedy writer.
It didn't take long, however, for savvy consumers and congoers to accuse the staging as a simple hoax. Strangely enough, other religious groups were eerily silent and shockingly didn't appear to give much thought on the product. Not used to saying that.
Yeah.
Furthermore, eyebrows were getting raised as the quote-unquote fiasco. It seemed questionably similar to the smearing of Kevin Smith's Dogma film in 1999.
Gotcha.
A campaign that he not only cheekily jumped in undercover, but in the end, actually, it greatly assisted him in spreading awareness of the movie to his fans.
No publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah. A few days later, once the conference was over, it was officially confirmed by Electronic Arts representative Tammy Satcher, that it was indeed just a publicity stunt performed by a guerrilla marketing agency who hired actors. Wonder what they were paid. And no real boycotting was being done.
That's a bummer. I wish she came out and said, got your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect they wanted a counter crowd to gather to detest them. Like that was probably their,
Hey, this is
our
don't
turf.
Do it
at a video game convention. Those people don't have
right
the social skills to Do a counter protest.
That's true.
What's ironic, though, is that in the aftermath of this realization, several like Christian bloggers and outlets didn't take too kindly to the mocked. Fake protesting. Yeah, since it made a mockery of these sorts of stereotypes.
And then they all got their garrote that is aligned with rosary beads out, and we're getting ready to go out and start killing some people.
Yeah.
Margaret Cabanas of Inside Catholic wrote that, quote, "It's been clear for quite a while now that the entertainment industry views Christians on the whole as priggish, thin-skinned fun killers."
True.
And I mean, yeah. Like,
also,
the stupid cannibalism disaster that we covered was only 4 years before this.
What was it? Inside Catholic?
Inside Catholic, yeah.
.com. We're going to do Inside Christianity, but too close to a boy's named Christian, so that would get them awfully close to all the allegations. They workshopped it. They workshopped it.
I can understand why enthusiasts could feel that way, though. Like, it's plenty believable that they would.
If the cardinal robes fit, you know what I'm saying?
Another columner was far meaner. This from CatholicVideoGames.com.
Oh, does that still exist?
I don't know. Yeah, check them out. With the post reading, quote, "Gamers of all varieties will buy this product if it's, well, an actually good game. So instead of engaging in a shamelessly anti-Christian stunt to promote your poor excuse of a product, maybe you ought to work on making this game, something better than a blatant God of War ripoff and make it, something worthwhile."
All right. Well,
God damn, right for the jugular.
Being well researched.
Yeah, that's true.
2, have any of you played the Bible game? It's not quality. It's not quality.
It's a shitty Mario
CatholicVideoGames.com is no longer in service.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
Its founder probably ended up going into the Heaven's Gate cult.
Who's still running that, right? There is an archive of their mock website saved. It contains hokey accounts of the protesters getting assaulted by security forces and an email addressed to join the cause. So
that's awesome.
Quaint. Yeah, they just lied and said they all got beat. So whether or not you believe this tactic was successful is up to you, although it certainly didn't stop there, as the next sin in our list is lust. Ooh.
Hell yeah, dude. That's my second favorite one.
They packaged a bunch of copies of Dante's Inferno inside like Backdoor Sluts 9 or something.
That would have been way better than this, yeah. Because what, more appropriate place to be creepy than at 2009 San Diego Comic-Con? When that July, our favorite do no wrong third-party publisher hatched the ass-hatted idea to incentivize attendees to bother the costumed women, booth babes, stationed at various, just areas around, within the expo.
Yeah, booths.
Yeah, this as a part of their Sin to Win contest. According to the flyer, printed
I got a sin for you, murder.
Printed in a tattoo-style font on top of a drawing of cleavage, the proposal they are requesting is to, quote, commit an act of lust with one of the models. Translation:
sexually harass the models.
What they want is to pose with them for a dirty picture. Then you're supposed to share it on their Twitter page under the hashtag lust, so that they can select a winner who will then be rewarded with a, quote, sinful night with 2 hot girls, a limo service, paparazzi, don't know what the fuck that means, I guess a photo op, and a chest full of booty, end quote.
Dude, pirate booty?
My mind is racing with all of the jokes and there's actual women's asses inside the chest.
You overloaded me and Sean. We can't come up with anything.
Hold on,
too much.
You said something.
I'll give you an aside,
I'm an idiot when it comes to how companies work.
Mm-hmm.
The marketing department worked for EA.
I guess they're
a third party.
Probably,
Okay, so
that was going to be my complaint about the Catholic video games quote, where they're just focus on making it a good game. It's like Visceral is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good game.
They didn't organize that.
They had no say in any of this.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I would have thought this sounds like it's coming from the minds of the people who created it to drum up attention.
They're busy in the trenches, actually making the game.
It makes sense. The publishers want the game to sell, so that they do insane shit. Crazy that it's EA.
Yeah. And that last prize, I'm assuming it's money. They do go on to say, they elaborate that the 5 runner-ups will receive a $240 EA card. Like for
What
Origin?
the hell could
For
you?
Origin.
Oh, did they have points?
Did that?
Or I guess
No,
just
it
store
was just
credit.
a store. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like a Steam card.
Right. Okay.
Damn.
Couldn't even spring for like a Visa gift card or.
No.
You know what's?
They don't want you to buy drugs with it.
I was thinking like, back in those days,
Yeah.
the one thing that nerdy white gamer dudes needed was a reason to sexually harass women.
I know. They did follow this.
They needed to be
with,
incentivized to do it
with the disclaimer.
Sure.
As little was really explained in the rules and conditions. Basically, they declare that, quote, judges reserve the right to disqualify any submissions that seem inappropriate for any reason, including depicting or mentioning sex, violence, drugs, alcohol, and/or inappropriate language.
How do you take a lusty picture without depicting drugs or sex?
Wussies. No, yeah. What?
I'm just sitting here.
What's
thinking,
the bar for this?
I'm thinking about the attendee overlap of San Diego Comic-Con and like erotica,
right?
Like or exotica, like those two.
I mean,
events.
CES used to happen around the same time as the porn convention.
Oh wait,
Yeah, right.
this was Comic-Con?
This was San Diego.
Do they have booth babes?
Yeah. Oh, in 2009 they did. And
Okay.
At least like game publishers that had, yeah.
Because I was going to say, this could also lead, I was going to say this could also lead to a lot of harassment of cosplayers. Because,
right. It does not specify like
Comic-Con.
There already was like
I know more harassment of cosplayers because that's
I assume they mean their own. Like you're actively encouraging guests to be flirty with your contracted workers.
Well, I guess it's kind of like negotiated in the contract. 1, 2. Like, what if they just went up to like the Capcom booth babes or whatever and just, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem. I mean, it might have been more clear in like the advertisement for this.
Look this up.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems there's a lot of gray area. Yeah.
And you know what goes here and what doesn't.
What is Sin to Win from?
Okay.
Oh,
I found an Ars Technica article. It says EA puts sexual bounty on the heads of its own booth.
Okay. Yeah. I think that might have been the one I saw.
Yeah.
Sin to Win is one of the lyrics in a neon white track.
Okay.
Sorry.
And did they run this by their performers so that they could consent to these practices? Nope.
That's going to be... No, they didn't.
Nope.
Oh, I thought you were asking.
I'm sure those that were confused likely played along the best they could during their shift. But I mean, as if they aren't objectified enough without their employer putting this, as Austin said, this bizarre bounty on them.
You tried to reach out for comment, but turns out they are all dead. Stalked into death.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, I found the flyer.
Yeah.
And it says,
the one with the
commits
the
acts of lust, take photos with us or any booth babes.
Oh, wow.
So,
but they don't.
The old
but the
other
prize
booth
was
babes are not.
The prize was dinner and a sinful night with 2 hot girls, which was apparently their own booth babes. So maybe they like hired sex.
Well, I was going to say, are they implying prostitution there?
Listen,
it sure sounds like it.
Like I just,
even if it's not what they intended. What is this night of sex?
Like
That's
I just
illegal.
said about.
Well, yeah. Oh, it's California. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not Vegas.
Like I was just saying, the growth in support for sex work over the last 12 years can't be overstated. I can't imagine that EA would have the foresight to be like, we can't just put innocent, or not innocent, and sex workers aren't innocent. But what I'm saying is, they wouldn't have the foresight to go that route, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because, again, I feel like even 12 years ago, sex work was so taboo.
And I don't mean to generalize.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like, if you hired a bunch of strippers and had nerdy guys from Comic-Con interact with them, they would crumble immediately.
True. That is true.
Yeah.
They would be frozen.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is problematic for a myriad of factors.
Right.
How it glorifies...
it's more than a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
It glorifies unwanted advances, let alone awards it. I get your audience for this game is essentially straight young males, but you don't need to give them another reason to behave like a misogynist asshole. In public, while also simultaneously providing them with an excuse for when hijinks step over the line.
That's the thing.
No, it's for a contest. They told me to do it. Yeah.
That's the thing is, like, there are ways to... I don't think there's a way to do a lust promotion that doesn't have controversy, maybe, but you want controversy, unfortunately. But, like, you're in a major city, just like partner with a strip club and be like, go to this strip club and like,
yeah, that is weird. I'm thinking
get a lap dance and take a picture of it and tweet it at us.
Because like the definition of like lust, like when you think of like, you know, at least how I perceive it to be is like, with certain content creation, when you do lusty stuff, like there's no overt, you know, sexual association with it. Lusty is just like naughty.
Yeah, that's
right?
what they. I think that's what they.
I mean, in specific with regards to the 7 deadly sins, lust has nothing to do.
Right.
Lust is a sin for a reason.
Yes, exactly.
It's everything that is being represented by these booth babes. Right. It's just like, you know, I mean, unwanted advances are lusty. That's why it's a sin. That's why it's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Now, regardless, the response to this wasn't great. Instead, their replies on social media were flooded with the hashtag EAFail. There were those that...
I missed 2009.
Yeah, when fail was the big... Yeah. There were those that
simpler times.
that participated, a dozen-ish. Hopefully they weren't dicks to the poor women involved and stuck to some good, clean fun. Or worst case, maybe it just resulted in a couple awkward encounters, and that was it.
Not more than a couple, my friend.
Yeah, I couldn't track down any testimonials. The general vibe from their followers tended to fall into the icky category. Personally, I find this more dumb than offensive. It's still gross. Women in the game space have it tough as it is. This type of shit doesn't, you know, fucking help.
It's just the thing. It's like, obviously, it's gross, but also like, it bothers me. Maybe it's fucked up to say, but it bothers me so much more how much money the people who thought of this were being paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just blowing rails of coke and just being like, we'll get the fucking nurse to take pictures with hot chicks. And it's just like,
I think the overlap...
Your job is pointless and you're stupid.
I think how much video games gets associated with like losers and then like incel losers and then like live in your mom's basement and like nerd stuff. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
EA, taking notice of the blowback, put out this statement to clear the air, and I'm going to label this as a half apology or non-apology. I don't know. Quote, we understand there's a lot of debate right now around our Sin to Win promotion at Comic-Con. We wanted to clarify a few things. We created this promotion as part of our marketing efforts around the Circle of Lust, one of the 9, you know, blah, blah, blah. Each month, we will be focusing on a new circle of hell. This month is Lust. Costume reps are a tradition at Comic-Con. In the spirit of both the Circle of Lust and Comic-Con, we're encouraging attendees to tweet photos of themselves with any of the costume reps at Comic-Con here. Man, they repeat themselves a lot. Find us on blah, blah, blah. Hold on.
Wait, is it...
Commit acts of lust is simply a tongue-in-cheek way to say, take pictures with costume reps. Really hammering it in.
Is it the 7 deadly sins or is it the circles of hell?
9 circles of hell.
There's 9 circles of hell.
Right.
7 sins.
Okay.
But they did say 9 circles of hell. I don't know.
I know, because the first...
Technically, this is 9 months before release, but the theming for each month is...
The circle of hells are a little harder, because the first circle of hell is just the unbaptized, the unwashed. Right? Like, what do you do for that?
Yeah, and as far as I remember... 8 was swim in pudding. That was the 8th circle of hell. And 9th was like puppy attack or something. Yeah. You were like mauled by cute little puppies.
Is the most inner one the frozen one? Or it's just dark and
it was dark.
Cold?
It's for traitors.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. They're worse than rapists.
Well, apparently. Rapists are only the 2nd level of hell.
Really?
It was 1400s, a different time.
Yeah, murders.
Yeah, I'm even a little bit unsure about including this.
Yeah.
Also, a night of lust means only that the winner will receive a chaperoned VIP night on the town with the Dante's Inferno reps, all expenses paid, as well as other prizes. So you're hanging out with like
nerd.
Yeah.
Fucks, like it's and awkward. Like social settings are not their strong suits.
Yeah.
Especially the really horny ones.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, it's got to be the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
The 9 circles of hell are limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, anger, heresy, violence, fraud, and treachery.
Then that's not the way that they Yeah,
limbo, that there was already a game made out of that.
We apologize for any confusion and offense that resulted from our choice of wording and want to assure you that we take your concerns and sentiments seriously. We'll continue to follow your comments, and please let us know if you have any other thoughts or concerns. Keep watching as the event unfolds, and we hope you'll agree with us that it was all done in the spirit of good-natured fun of Comic-Con.
No, tell us what we can do better.
Please go to Sin to Win to learn more. Yeah.
So we're not taking requests.
So with that, who sinned the hardest without sinning too hard? Don't know. Either whoever won chose to remain anonymous, or perhaps more probable, EA wishing to avoid a sexual harassment lawsuit was that was waiting to happen, yanked the plug on the whole thing.
Listen, Randy, I don't know if you know how this works, but when you win the lottery, you just silently disappear.
Yeah. Well, tough break for old pal Lust.
The sinful night got too sinful, and then the person died. That's what happened. Had a heart attack.
There was a murder.
We're already losing footing here. Who's hungry though? Because it's now time for Gluttony's reign.
It's a hot dog eating contest.
I was just thinking the exact same thing.
Also, succeeding these stumblings, they finally decided to ease it up a bit on the dubious theatrics, and with what is their their single innocent plan yet. To celebrate our unhealthy relationship to sweets, the publisher commissioned a series of massive cakes in the shape of severed limbs, complete with blood frosting and custard maggots, and have them sent to journalists and gaming coverage websites as a token of gratitude to their staff.
Custard.
So
maggots.
I guess, yeah, that's great.
I've seen
the
pictures.
Yeah. Just put real maggots next time.
It doesn't look appetizing, but to the best of my knowledge, it wasn't baked or laced with anything sinister. I'll bet they tasted fine.
Yeah. At least they didn't go the Jared Leto way and like just stick a dildo in the cake.
Used condoms in it. Yeah.
I'm so crazy. I'm the Joker, baby.
I don't know where the Joker begins and Jared ends.
Yeah. Or if there ever was a separation.
Yeah. Of course, I highly doubt any were finished. So shame on them for delivering food that couldn't possibly be fully eaten.
All those people just weren't gluttoning hard enough.
Yeah.
They didn't really get into the spirit of the...
Share it with the next floor.
Yeah.
You guys want to eat some of this body cake?
It's got custard maggots.
Yeah. No? Okay.
So that was all for August. Could they have learned their lesson of crossing boundaries? Not a chance.
No, they got to get way more epic.
Yeah, let's explore some greed.
I was going to say, we still have greed and envy.
Yeah, envy was the first one.
Oh, right, we did envy.
I'm
greed and pride.
I'm associating all these with FMA.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I actually dig both these concepts. The first one, definitely. In a partnership with retailer GameStop, a one-day promotion was offered to their users. If you were to visit a location of theirs on September 9th, 2009, that's 9909, a discount was given upon pre-order of $6.66.
That's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and not of the fabled number of the beast.
I thought they were going to say, if you show up to a GameStop on 999 with a ski mask and a gun, they'll give you all the money in the register. What's more greedy than that?
Yeah. But yeah, why not, right? Like, this is, that's cool.
Yeah. Our greed promotion, if you buy from this day on, if you buy the game, is $10 more.
Right.
Yeah, we're the greedy ones.
Yeah, that's kind of how it's going, as of recently.
Yeah.
On the press side of the campaign, however, EA had decided to mail unsolicited checks for $200 to specific games critics with the following note attached. Quote, in Dante's Inferno, greed is a two-headed beast. Hoarding wealth feeds one beast, and squandering it satiates the other. By cashing this check, you succumb to avarice. By hoarding filthy lucery. But by not cashing it, you waste it, and thereby surrender to prodigality. Damn Bible words. I'm sorry.
Wait, what was the second word you couldn't pronounce?
Lucery.
How spell that?
Lucre.
This is some weird Latin.
I think it's a hard C. I think it's like lucre.
Lucre?
Yeah.
Huh. Go ahead, Google. Say it for us.
Yeah. Lucre, the Latin word, means to shine
bright like a diamond.
Yeah. Hold on. Do they have a pronunciation guide?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, it's Latin.
What's prodigality? Anyone know that?
The fire starter.
Spell that.
PRODIGALITY. My listeners are gonna think I'm an idiot.
Oh, it's the whatever form of prodigal.
Oh. Okay. Listen.
It's all different, hard to pronounce words for saying spending money and wasting it.
Yeah, okay. I can pick it up from the context.
Listen, I can simplify all this.
Yeah.
We are going to write you a check for $100,000, but the funds were only gained through human trafficking and child pornography. Will you cash it?
And then it says, make your choice and suffer the consequences for your sin, and scoff not, for consequences are imminent.
How much was the check for?
$200. But they sent a bunch of them. I mean, Electronic Arts had a lot of capital to burn during this era, evidently. They were seriously committed to this shit.
You know what you do instead?
Elaborate.
You put like $10,000 checks. And you mail it out to all these people, but the account only has $10,000. See who cashes it first, and then you just blacklist them from reviewing EA games.
And most companies would have just organized one or two of these stunts, so props to them, I guess.
But let me guess. For Pride, they did a Ted Kaczynski kind of route. They mailed out a bunch of pipe bombs to everybody's house.
So each check came fitted inside a wooden box decorated with twin skeletons, as well as the Dante's Inferno logo.
Cost more than $200.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wonder where these are at now. Within the piece of paper sat atop a garish velvet pillow.
Of course.
Compliments to the presentation.
Gotta be velvet.
Yeah. What's especially interesting with this is that I couldn't deduce just how many of these went out or who all got them. Technically, there was no clause stating that this needed to be disclosed, so therein lies the ethical quandary. Yeah. Either your crew gives off the impression that they took a bribe, perhaps in an ill attempt to bump up those review scores, if you're a conspiracy theorist about that. This was a no-joke, legal, verified, honest-to-God check. On one hand, you could cash it. I mean, hell, I would. I'd frame the receipt and then say nothing.
Yeah.
Or fuck it, say you did.
Yeah.
Like, reviewers regularly get attacked for false claims of being bought by advertisers anyway. Like, that field doesn't pay much. $200 is $200.
Yeah.
Almost $300 in 2025 Trumpflation. Bring on the hate.
Yeah.
But and then on the other hand, though, you inform your readers and abstain, thus letting the money go unspended for nobody.
Yeah.
Does that do any good? I gotta give it to EA or whoever they hired. That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
I mean, he who squanders wealth allows the first fruits owed to heaven to rot on the vine. The letter notates.
I gotta say, I'm fascinated by religion, mostly because of how dope it is. But I know it's just like a morality system to confuse people. Yeah. That I mean, God, Christianity can be so metal sometimes.
I was gonna say, you ever read the Bible? It's hardcore as fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's also
you torture porn.
There's also the whole moving around the priest thing is got problems. Evangelicals. It's all a mess. Holy wars.
Yeah.
Now, two websites that did choose to share their potential extra incentives was Nick Chester at Destructoid and Brian Crescenti from Kotaku. Nick sat debating on whether to resist or cave into the temptation, but Brian saw through the ruse. In an effort to call their bluff, a different solution was surmised. He burned the check on his grill, filmed it, and instructed the Electronic Arts team to donate the $200 to a charity instead. This or else they would look like the skeezy ones. Curse is foiled again. Despite the tables getting turned, the ball was in their court to deliver. Did they?
No.
No, of course not. Oh, you nuts. Them custom cakes and limo rides don't come cheap.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Joystick's Chris Grant did cash it before then giving it away in the publisher's name to the White House Project, a prominent nonpartisan nonprofit organization that aims to advance women's leadership in government. This is a fuck you for the sin to win debacle.
Yeah, that's kind of tight.
Yeah. Not that the teasing ceased for our friends in gaming media, because Wrath was just around the corner.
Oh.
Yeah.
That actually, I take it back. It's not pride for the Kaczynski thing. It's wrath.
It's wrath. Yeah.
So silly of me.
That October, another bundle of packages were sent. This time to Veronica Belmont. Cool last name.
Is she a scientist?
Yeah.
Is she a doctor?
At Core.
Anything to do with technology.
This is PlayStation's official magazine. QORE. I don't think they exist anymore.
Yeah.
And the escapist Ben Yahtzee Croshaw of Zero Punctuation fame. Okay, maybe this one is my favorite. Minus the tired meme part, but yeah. When opened, they'd each be greeted to a small wooden box that upon the lid being lifted, it would loudly and endlessly play Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. They were rickrolled.
That has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah, how's that wrath?
I know. Well, you'll see. Plus, the song couldn't be stopped unless you thoroughly destroyed it. To assist with this, a separate burlap sack containing a ball peen hammer and goggles were provided. Gotta protect yourself from the shrapnel. But see, that's fun.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It would be so funny if it just sent out like a GPS locator of your geolocation and it sent it to like all the like hitmen and like gangs and everything. Clock is ticking. Destroy it in time.
Here's a gun.
Yeah.
And Veronica didn't hesitate to smash it into bits. She did record this and posted it to YouTube for if anybody listening wants to take a pause and watch it. Seemed like a nice cathartic distraction from work. Once you get through the layers of wood lined with plastic bones and rubber insects to dismantle the speaker, a note was hidden telling them like a la the finale of the movie Seven that they gave into their
What's in the
their
box?
rat tendencies. Yeah.
That's great. Was Gwyneth Paltrow's head in there?
Quote, the sin of wrath is yours. You have succumbed to anger and opened an infernal spring that seethes with dark waters. Quelled not, your anger begot rage. The waters have risen, and ye will be drowned in sinking mire. Go to hell.
I really wish they hired Kevin Spacey to go to each one of these locations and stare at the person as they opened it.
Oh, God.
This was before the accusation, so yeah, he was probably pretty expensive back then. Now I could get him for a $20 scratch off.
And the go to hell, that was their sign off, like being the official slogan.
Play the game.
Love it, yeah. But elsewhere, Yahtzee was fairly annoyed at the inflicting music, this in typical fashion. He quickly strapped on his eyewear and proceeded to pound away till he could pull out the wires and battery. I'll believe he enjoyed the deed. I would. That or just like toss it into the river. That'd probably kill it, right? No hammering necessary. Also, a short aside since we're still in October. Entirely unconnected to their advertising roadmap, an unrelated controversy ignited on the 23rd in regards to a leaked achievement/trophy list for the game. This following a hands-on preview event in New York named Naughty or Nice. I'm curious if anybody remembers this. I vaguely did. So it was specifically in reference to one called, quote, Bad Nanny. That was the name of the achievement. An award that would pop up for players when they slaughtered a number of kid-like monsters that resembled children. Maybe you guys can give a description of those to better paint a visual for us. I'm not familiar.
They look like babies.
Yeah.
Cherubs, like demonic cherubs.
Yeah, there's a couple of those.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the lost souls of unbaptized infants.
Yeah, the first layer of hell.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. But this sparked a conflict with, get this, the International Nanny Association. I got to ask Liz about that.
That's insane.
Yeah, did not know that was a thing. But anyway, the INA was mad. They spoke out and told others to oppose the title as it supported real world violence against babies, even in a fantasy setting.
INA?
You know the ordeal.
It's not like the Irish National Army.
they had to fight for branding.
Now, the thing is, like, they're not necessarily wrong, but it is based on the Bible. Or I guess it's based on the Bible and Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
Which are books where
totally fiction.
The unbaptized babies go to hell and burn for eternity.
That seems way more cruel than...
Yeah. So, like, this whole religion is based on the fact that, like, if
you got to blame anyone?
If an old pervy dude doesn't splash water on your forehead when you're one, then you're going to burn for all of eternity.
My least favorite aspect of Catholicism, or I guess like this is more of a Catholic thing, was I remember even like watching the Godfather movies when I was a kid, of being like, oh, you could just commit like atrocities your entire life and then say I'm sorry and then you're good.
No, not really.
Yeah,
that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
You're like absolved, right?
Yeah, but that's also why there's so many subsects of Catholicism.
Yeah.
Is because like they're always like, you know, mixing and matching. That's my most fascinated part of it all.
So you guys know this kind of ordeal. They demanded action with their lead public relations chair, Nettie Weber, writing to the ESRB and urged them to omit the reward. I'm assuming the organization is in tune with how the rating practices like function in the industry, because like they don't create the software that goes through their cert like process. Yeah.
Wait, I lost track. What's happening? What's the sweepstakes? You have to like flush how many abortions to get a trophy? I lost track. What do you win? Yeah.
You get a free nanny if you kill your kid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So to which they responded to tell them that we merely review the content, assign the appropriate label to the products, then allow the consumer to make their own informed choices. We do not censor them via outside solicitations. Now, the group could have forwarded the concerns to the actual company, but considering that the achievement made its way into the final build, I'm going to say that the request was never sent, or it was just ignored by Visceral and EA.
Wait, when was this?
October 2009.
When did Casey Anthony kill her kid?
Ooh. That trial was 2009.
Oh, man, they missed a golden opportunity to make it Zanny the Nanny. Shit. I'm glad she's back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you see her recently? Like,
yeah, she's not ready for 2025.
Yeah. So they also this group they could have been too busy collaborating with Jack Thompson on a different crusade. Apparently, they were way into that. It was whatever, though. The M stamp they received spoke for itself. And even if you did argue the edginess, tastelessness, or tackiness of the goal, it was designed to be tongue-in-cheek. The whole thing was. And, you know, it's obvious no true malice was meant here. Alrighty. So this is where it gets funky, because moving into November is Pride.
We're saving the... I was waiting for Sloth. I want to see what they do for Sloth. We're saving the best for last.
They mailed a bunch of sloths.
Yeah.
I suppose this is due to them launching a Facebook application. I think that's their with Pride. Makes sense at first, except then they don't do a lot that pertains to the actual emotion of Pride. So the app entitled Go to Hell went live on the 20th that month. This linked from a temp site advertising a phony religious video game called Mass We Pray, a motion-based simulator for players to engage in interactive prayer during church sermons. What's hilarious, however, is that this too was set up as real. And honestly, the teaser trailer they produced is amusing, but not very convincing. It does begin with an official ESRB pending card to trick you. Then it cuts to a family sitting around the dinner table saying grace before then showing a Connect-ish type of experience. There's even a cross-shaped Wiimote included, tossing a kneeling Wii Fit accessory for good measure. That's funny.
Bro.
Yeah.
Where did the creativity and marketing go?
Right?
Like, holy shit. Like, every single, like, marketing, like every stage of the marketing campaign for this game could go to its own game.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Jesus. And it's not super expensive.
No, there's so much shit that they did. You do view gameplay footage in it in this fake commercial. Players earn grace points through mini games themed around everything from baptisms and confessions to conducting a choir and lighting candles. Ringing the tower bell was one. Taking collection, genuflecting. No fucking clue what that is.
I'll look it up.
All right.
I've heard the term before.
Yeah. It's a decent parody of the shovelware trash you'd come across back then. A tad on the nose, still silly. It did manage to temporarily fool a handful of news outlets such as The Escapist, who questioned if it was legit, although, what if not? Them and Game Culture did some sleuthing and found that the developer credited, Prayerworks Interactive, didn't appear to be based out of Boston that they so claimed. No business directory, no phone number. The only website mentioned, masswepray.com, is hosted by Media Temple under a hidden owner. They did eventually predict the association with Dante's Inferno. Like,
dude. I mean, just like make it.
Oh, that's
okay.
Okay,
It's kneeling on one knee.
Gotcha.
As opposed to kneeling, which is both knees.
We call that the Colin Kaepernick around here. Sorry. No. What was I gonna say? Yeah, they could have just like made it route to like owned by Satan, location hell.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with pride.
Well, this doesn't. It's the. There's a fake game that links to a real game. So like they had this commercial for this Mass We Pray title that was not real, and then if you dug into it, then it would send you to this Facebook app. That was just a way of getting people to go there. Savvier people were well aware that they were being intentionally misled. However, they weren't sure for what until hours later. If they only clicked on the pre-order page, it triggers text on screen declaring you are a heretic, loads a trailer, and then redirects you to that said app. This created by Visceral themselves. Once you download that, it incorporates your onboard friends list. Kind of like it's like that Watch Dogs things we did at PAX. And then persuades you to condemn them to an eternal damnation, while you yourself are safe. You're tasked with the decision. The browser shows you a person's profile, group page, or photo. You can vote to absolve or punish them, banish to one of the 9 realms. That you could simply torment them with activities like, quote, beast massage, sounds kinky, or succubus castration.
Kinky Kelly.
Yeah. I sadly wasn't able to find any screenshots.
This is really fascinating how, like, I don't know if their intention was to be like, you can all be the judges of like it's almost like on a meta level. It's like, why do you give power to one person to like judge over all these people? And then it's like, it's making fun of like having the capability to judge someone, and then whether or not they can, like, their sins are absolved or you can cast them into hell. It's like, wow. I doubt it was intentional, but like there's some really interesting meta narrative to this. I'm sad I couldn't. Like I said, I don't know what it looks like. I'm sure the graphics were relatively basic. It's an app from the late aughts, you know. So it's like the opposite of your top 8. It's like
I wonder if it like alerts them. Like, hey, this person.
It should. That would be the pride part of it.
I assume maybe it does.
Or it's like a poke that never stops chiming.
Or no, it's probably
right. Yeah.
They probably came up against the wall that all Facebook apps at the time did, which is that like this person's requesting you
to do something
with this app, and you're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm not downloading this shit.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
Farmville.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, raid my farm.
God.
Dude.
There was what was the gangster themed one?
Mafia City.
Yeah, I remember like deleting friends that I had because I would just get like mass.
Right, but it didn't tell you what they wanted. It just wanted you to authorize the app, because you had to authorize the app to get notifications from the app.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Another tangent. This won't take long. Don't worry. And again, it's unrelated to their current PR mission around Pride, though. When else am I going to be able to recount this story? And I'm only inserting it here since it was in the same month in November of 2009. So EA loved taking their betas of Dante's Inferno around to cons, including one that a bunch of us attended. Friends of the pod, Kay, Dave, and Andrew were there. It was dope. We all won a rock band competition.
Yeah.
Please,
I remember
please
that.
no autographs. Yeah. I still got the it was like a longboard that was with the soundtrack on it. It's cool. But it was at this event, I believe it was called GameX, when other friend of the show, Dan, was standing with me by their booth, talking and watching people playing the demo.
Yeah.
Suddenly, a local news reporter tapped me on the shoulder and asked if they could interview us about it. We nervously agreed, despite either of us ever at any point we hadn't touched it.
Yeah.
The wait was too long.
Yeah.
We were just at the front.
Yeah.
My memory is fuzzy, although I do recall nearly every question being about its, degrees
subject
of
matter.
violence. Yeah.
Yeah.
To which both of us shrugged and went, nah, like not really biting.
Yeah.
What made, we were 18, 19, whatever. What made
Tell me, how much do you like killing babies?
Yeah, love it. What made this also incredible, however, is that where they placed us for the camera was directly in front of a station of one of the television kiosks behind us showing a boss fight. And coincidentally, and unfortunately for them, this was the sequence where a giant naked lady demon with a penis fires termites out of her nipples.
Hell
yeah.
Fucking yeah.
That's a boss of the second layer, yeah.
And after they noticed this, they stopped to then discuss, like, off camera if they need to blur it for broadcast. And we're just like standing there before then deciding they'd rather just reshoot the clip entirely and have a step away from the TV being in the shot.
Yeah.
This time, though, we turned them down since we were already late to meeting the others for something.
Yeah.
I forget what, but I always remember that shit. It's so funny. So I had to share that anecdote. Just a little bonus.
That's
for y'all.
fascinating.
Yeah. So maybe that footage is out there somewhere, but I know I doubt they used it. You know.
Hold on. You can continue. I'm just gonna be searching on the PlayStation Network to see if Dante.
I don't.
Inferno. No.
Did you?
Couldn't be me.
Did you play it?
Always in my search.
No, I did, but this.
I thought you did. That's why I wanted to bring it because you guys.
So this is, if I remember correctly, this is around my Game Crazy era.
Yeah.
So what I would do is, unfortunately, I was doing a lot of sampling at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, why not?
I think I was also spending a lot of time with my now wife. So it was like, I was just
you were like, yo, check this out.
I would get like a game to rent out for like a week through Game Crazy. And then I would play it like for a half an hour because I was too busy boning the rest of the time. But so I did play it, but I didn't see a lot of it. Again, like this type of game is like right the fuck up my alley. So, but that's,
I think that demo, by the way, came out eventually to the public as well. Probably not available anymore, but
yeah.
So lastly, there's Sloth. And this is a bit of a confusing chapter on their part, because unlike the previous sins, they only half stuck to their guns for this one. The promise, essentially, was no more campaigning. Like, take December off and sleep it away, which would have been great. I'd laugh at that.
Yeah.
Like, if they're just like, this month is Sloth, and then, or a Sloth, and then, like, all their accounts just went like dead quiet.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good. But the problem was EA couldn't help themselves but continue their monolith amount of synergistic tie-ins. This fucking game was a frenzy of cross-promotional multimedia. And this during their supposed slumber from controversies. Like, those will come back, have no fear. But listen to this shit. It's wild. For starters, they reprinted the original poem in paperback. They used the modern English translation, of course, but it slapped the video game's poster on it as a new cover, along with a foreword from their executive producer. Pretty tacky, to be frank. Your literary types weren't too pleased with that. Which is funny. That seems more appropriate for Pride.
Yeah, that's taken.
I was gonna say that's fucking Pride.
Yeah,
that's not Sloth. That's Pride.
Yeah, that's taken too like a little too far.
Yeah,
like fair use and all that other shit. But like,
it was in the public domain.
Yeah,
but but I agree though. Like it's so this would have been perfect to just like.
So is like Sloth is like laziness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the problem was people weren't talking to each other. So I bet that, like, their marketing department was committed and was like, all right, no, sending shit out to the press. Like, we're just gonna keep to ourselves. And then I think, like, unbeknownst to them, another branch of EA was like, well, there's money and like, this stuff.
Yeah, you're on the last level.
Yeah,
you have this much to blow, or you won't get it next year.
Especially because the game is now 2 months away.
Yeah,
and so then 3 different special editions got announced, each showcasing 3 different making-of documentaries. There was an animated movie from Film Roman under the Stars division that did Dead Space Downfall.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah. A second separate Facebook game, this called Battle of the Damned, and by LOL app, where the Romeros worked at. Basically, apparently it's a fucking RPG and had 1 million plus active users when it was uploaded. Damn. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Also, an art book, a figurine line, a soundtrack CD or album, a 6-chapter comic series from Wildstorm.
I remember all this.
Yeah. DLC was teased. They put Dante as a playable character in the PSP port of Army of Two for some reason. The 40th day.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
In it, you had to beat the story by always making, quote, morally poor choices.
Okay, it's on brand.
And this,
again,
yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, and this wasn't the sole instance of a guest switcheroo. Redeemable vouchers were revealed to swap your in-game model to a skin of Dead Space protagonist Isaac Clarke, which I never heard of that.
So you could have
you could have played through Dante's Inferno as Isaac Clarke, and then played as Dante in Army of Two.
Jeez.
And this was all fucking December.
Yeah.
Like, sloth my ass. Like, they didn't stop fucking, like, they stopped messing with people, though.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what they meant. No mischievous escapades or antics, just your standard add-ons combined with an onslaught of promos.
It'd be funnier.
Yeah.
If for Sloth, they just announced the delay for the game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That would have been better.
Yeah, that would have been good. Now, comparatively speaking, January was fairly quiet. Like, this should have been Sloth. But we survived our tour of the 7 Deadly Sins. Not that Electronic Arts was planning to settle down, though. For there was one more big swing just prior to their launch the following month that they'd spare no expense on. Pop quiz. It's February. What's the grandest way to get the message out to the fine citizens of the residents of the United States that you got a fucking video game coming soon?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, the big game. Yeah. Why it's
Who played the halftime show? Was it Lady Gaga or something?
In 09? I don't know.
No, it'd been 2010.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah.
Oh, right.
But yeah, as you guys nailed it, it is to make a kick-ass commercial for the goddamn Super Bowl. The 44th annual bowl, to be precise.
It is one of the best video game commercials.
It truly is.
Yeah.
And this is only 3 days till their release on the 10th. So eyeballs everywhere were fixed on their TV sets. You had the
millions,
the Saints. Millions. You had the Saints versus the Colts.
Oh, yeah. Drew Brees, Reggie Bush era.
Who cares about that? Because during one of their middle breaks, a sleek, fast-paced CG cinematic would air of Dante's descent into the fiery pits of the underworld, combating demons to the beautiful tune of Bill Withers' Ain't No Sunshine, and closing with the words, "Go to hell." That's some sick juxtaposition right there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And this ad went over well.
This was the one where The Who played.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was 2008.
No.
Okay. I remember a bunch of their songs came out on Rock Band, like recorded.
Yeah.
That's not The Who. Keith Moon was dead by this point, I'm pretty sure.
He was dead for like decades.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So that's not The Who.
Were they the last? No, because I was gonna say were they the last band, but Foo Fighters turned it down, and then Maroon 5.
Maroon 5,
yeah. So yeah, people love this fucking ad.
Yeah.
It found itself on many lists of the best commercials produced for the event that year. In fact, it was probably the most successful of any of the marketing we've talked about the whole episode.
Yeah.
Don't know what the cost was. But what's even crazier is that despite this victory, a second secret internet commercial was filmed. It wasn't on YouTube or Vimeo. I tried. This just means I got to recite it from Wikipedia. It reads like they were back on the sauce again for this one.
That's great.
I also assume nobody else has seen this as well. Definitely overshadowed by the Super Bowl video. And later re-airings of that had to remove the "Go to Hell" text as it wasn't suited for normal broadcast hours per the FCC.
But sports.
Yeah.
Sports.
Just play the Tim and Eric song. According to those that did catch this online, it presents a fictitious company named Hawk Panther and instructed viewers to visit their website in order to, quote, steal your best friend's girlfriend. When you click the link, the word treachery appears in all caps, and then it scrolls, quote, "Thou art condemned to the 9th circle. Thou hast broken the bonds of trust with thy kindred, even conspiring to stealeth Thy best
Thy
friend,
wench.
yeah, thy best friend's soulmate is the worst kind of mortal offense imaginable. You shall pay for thy treachery by spending an eternity immersed up to your face, the place where shame shows itself in the putrid frozen waters of hell.
My dick split open and locust flew out.
You already said that, sir. Well, it happened a lot.
How do they know that your best friend's girlfriend is their soulmate? That seems like a stretch.
Yeah. And like, was commissioning this really necessary? They already fucking knocked it out of the park with the Super Bowl.
I mean,
ad. What was the point of going
You gotta
further?
have a plan B, man.
Yeah.
They had like an extra $500 after that $1 million Super Bowl ad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, "What?
We're gonna lose this anyway." Yeah. If you don't spend it.
Let's say your parents, you make a lemonade stand. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Go ahead.
And to those keeping track, that's 3 commercials, including Mass We Pray, 2 fake companies, 5 websites. I lost count. 2 fake.
Can you sing it in the cadence of that Christmas song?
Yeah, the partridge
5
in a pear tree.
websites, 2 dead kids, 1 assault charge.
They had maybe it was 3 companies, 2 Facebook titles, at least 5 convention appearances. They later went to PAX and WonderCon.
And middling sales in the end.
And 2 of those had actors. Then there's the multiple cakes, the checks, the box prank.
This is all pennies, dude.
2 books, a comic, an anime, 3 documentaries for 3 individual bundles, a music album, action figures, the GameStop promo.
2 girls, a guy, in a pizza place.
Yeah, 2 crossovers and 2 full DLCs. One being a prologue, Dark Forest, and the other, Trials of St. Lucia, a co-op mode that featured a level editor.
What?
Yeah.
Dude,
I feel like I'm in Clue.
Again, this is so crazy. Like, I hate to do this, but like, this really makes me nostalgic for when teams had enough time. It wasn't such a grindy.
You will never see this shit.
No.
And it's like, you think this was fucking GTA with all of that. Like, Rockstar doesn't even go that hard. They even bested Classic Acclaim in the wacky publicity department.
I don't know.
Just in terms of the sheer volume of avoidable controversies.
They definitely put a sex scene that was definitely not going to be in the game. So let's not say they didn't do stuff like that.
And how many of these were there total of controversies? There was, the protests, the baby achievement, the lust stunt, the money stunt, the reissue of the OG poem, a little. Like you said, it was public domain. But it's...
I mean, everything but the commercial sounds like...
kind of, yeah. The commercial and I guess the cakes were fairly innocuous. But yeah.
Who doesn't love red velvet?
Mustard maggots. So we're finally ready for
your mouth.
for release day. PS3 and Xbox 360. There was a portable version on the PSP, but that was handled by Artificial Mind and Movement, makers of Wet. Yeah. Now they're known as Behavior Interactive, the minds behind former subject Fallout Shelter, and as of 2018 are running the live services for Dead by Daylight.
Yep.
Post Starbreeze.
I was gonna say,
Interesting.
Behavior.
Yeah. But how did it fare? Was all this bullshit even worth it? The consensus is pretty all right. I mean, reviews were generally positive, with scores ranging from 6s to 9s, at least for the main consoles. It never made it to PC, and no remasters either.
No.
I wonder why. It's not backwards compatible on the Series X, is it?
No, actually, it says install to.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's
it's part of their backlog.
That's cool.
Yeah. Not on the PlayStation Store at all for some reason.
Really?
Which is interesting.
All right.
because it's a PS3 game.
Oh,
they can't
right.
emulate PS3 games.
That's right. Yeah.
I like this game a lot.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys.
Like I said, I have touch point parts of it. I definitely I feel like I've been meaning to go back to this game. I think about this game once every 5 years. But yeah, it's I
think about this in the Splatterhouse remake. Like, they occupy similar space in my brain.
Wasn't that Wii U?
No, you were thinking of Mad World.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's right, Splatterhouse, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have a terrible memory.
I think it's God of War. I think that it benefits
from...
There
aren't many of those anymore.
It's the best God of War game that isn't the reboots or 3. God of War 3 is really good.
So it's funny. That's going to come up in a second.
Yeah. But also, like, you know, all of these controversies, it's funny that none of the controversies are really about the game's content.
No,
necessarily.
That's the funny thing. Once this was fully out, there actually wasn't, like...
Because it's like, we've talked, God of War is Greek mythology.
Yeah.
The Greek mythology is all over video games.
Oh, yeah.
Norse mythology is all over video games.
Yeah.
English mythology.
Modern religion,
Lord of the Rings.
does not get that kind of dissection.
No, that's true.
In the same way, and I love the lore of Christianity.
Oh yeah.
And this game also has like something to say, but it's not really that blasphemous.
No, I mean, and they're literalizing that story, like, for the most part.
Right.
Like,
I love the idea of, like, go to hell.
It's like, don't
go
to
heaven. It's so whack up there.
I did see some things with some of the artists that worked on the game, like the interpretations are they're what was described in the poem, and then they
and the whole point of Dante's Inferno, the story is that, like, he's the crusader.
Sorry.
He's
a warrior for Christ.
He's a crusader, and the whole point of the story is that, like, the Crusades were not actually Christian. That was the people in power committing the deadly sins. Yeah. So, like,
die in the name of God.
We love you, God.
I'll kill for you, God.
I think that the story is very interesting. I wish more games would, like, dissect Christian mythology, although I understand why they don't.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's tricky,
especially today.
Also, the combat is very good.
Yeah,
it's evolved in a way that, like, if you go back and play God of War 1 or 2 and then play Dante's Inferno, it feels better. And then you play
an escalation of that.
And then you play God of War 3, and then you're like, oh.
It's funny you bring that up because this was an acceptable win for EA. Mid-70s on Metacritic. Nothing amazing. The folks that bought in were dedicated, and, it did, like, over time earn itself a sort of cult status amongst gamers.
Man, how far they have fallen.
EA.
Yeah, they literally, the only reason Dead Space remastered, like, I think exists is because of the surveys they send out.
Well, but remember, people had to bully them into making a new Skate.
Right.
They had to, like, go on their Instagram.
They literally don't know what they have. They're like,
they fucked up the Mirror's Edge
sequel. Those old people go to Antiques Roadshow, and they're like, yeah, I know it's just a doodad. Well, this is Alexander's the Great's personal codpiece. Actually, I've been drinking out of it for 3 months.
They're like, they're like, we're all hands on deck. We're making like 4 battlefields. And you're like,
what? They're really doubling down.
And then they're like, don't worry. Criterion is working on Battlefield, but there might be a Need for Speed in the future. And everybody's like, fuck Need for Speed.
Yeah, come on.
Give me Burnout.
Yeah, that's
like,
so funny.
A game like Army of Two would never exist with modern EA.
Did they not do Kane and Lynch?
No, that was, the Hitman. Was it I.O.? No.
Yeah.
Was it I.O.?
It was I.O.
Yeah, who did Kill and Which 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I love that game. It's funny because
especially 2.
Yeah, 2's crazy. It has that, like, found footage kind of, like, camera, like the shaky cam with, like, VHS filter and stuff. They, like, blur out, like, when it's, like, that's cool. It has the pixelated thing. But, sorry, what was I going to say? Oh, I wasn't sure if you saw what I posted in the Discord today, or maybe it's yesterday, where it's, like, Split Fiction is EA's highest rated game in, like, since Mass Effect 3, which was 2012?
It's their first, like, 90 plus.
Yeah, 90 plus. That's what it was, yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy,
and I'm
because,
sure
again, they shit on that franchise
I know,
as well.
And I'm sure that the only things that probably came close since then were the Dead Space remake and It Takes Two.
What did Veilguard get?
Not that high.
No.
Yeah,
it's
apparently that was
too gay.
Doesn't deserve it.
That's why.
Yeah, it was
I'm happy the gayness in Kingdom Come is like really deep in there.
Yeah, it was the woke and not the bad writing and. But I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Dead Space 2 ads?
Yeah, we showed it to your grandma.
Do you have them in there?
I don't.
Okay.
That was I think that was in the next. No, that was the same year. That was later, 2010.
I know.
believe, right? Yeah.
Do you think the same ad people worked on that because that ad campaign was terrible.
Yeah,
is there any?
They probably did.
To those listening, there was an ad.
It's such a disservice to that game.
Well, it's a huge disservice to Dead Space 2 because it's not like a jump scare movie.
It's not.
Like there's an ad where they're like, we showed it to your grandma and she didn't like it. And it's a bunch of old ladies.
They're like, it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's so violent.
That's what
and
you would do for like the Saw video game.
That's what I'm saying.
Published for
but
some
it was
reason.
like Dead Space, which is like not that kind of horror.
It's so much more thoughtful than that. Like
it's like body horror and atmospheric horror.
And the gore has like an in-universe mechanic. Like there's a
reason.
Dead Space 2 is one of the best horror games I think ever made.
Yeah.
And like
that still haunts me.
Fucking ad campaign is just so terrible.
Yeah. I think it's sour.
I gotta say, like, it only makes sense to me that EA at this time especially, like, they have to have an in-house marketing team. And if they do, it's even going to be harder to track down because when they just disperse, like, or not when they disperse, but the hiring and the firing that it comes with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
God, just such creative minds at this time too.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like I said, earlier. It's like this era is
long gone.
It is. This is so done. For Dante's Inferno, many journalists praised the art direction, narrative, level, and enemy designs, as well as the moment-to-moment action. However, they were less enthused on the repetitive nature of the mechanics towards the latter half of the campaign. Apparently, it just overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
Bad, but
I mean, you got to get through 9 circles of hell. What are you going to do?
That's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
You can't cut a level.
I'm just literally, it's funny because like Split Fiction just came out, so I'm thinking about like how that is like it never overstays its welcome.
Yeah,
a game like
it's expertly to say. Yeah, it's like that. When we were discussing this earlier, it's like that game. You're never doing the same thing for more than like 90 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah,
like it's just like the pacing is. Yeah, it just goes. And as I was alluding to, much of the reasoning for the nitpicking was largely in part to comparisons to Sony's God of War franchise, to which the third installment was set to debut only a month later, and the anticipation for that was super hot. It was impossible for people into the genre to ignore the hype train there.
And so much more violent.
God of War
3? Yeah.
Oh, is 3 the one where you rip off whose head and you carry it around like a lantern?
No, that's the reboot.
Oh, that's the reboot. Shit.
Mimir?
Mimir?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 3 is the one where you kill Poseidon.
Does he poke out his eyes?
You poke out his eyes, but the camera switches to his perspective, so your eyes get poked out by Kratos. And
that's the super crazy opening scene where you're like have to run up the side of him, or something where he's like a giant sea monster. Or am I?
I don't think it was Poseidon. I think it's the one of the Colossi.
Is that 3?
I think so.
Okay. When did Chain of Olympus come out?
Chains of Olympus?
Before that.
Chains. Okay.
It was that PS4.
It was a prequel.
Chains of Olympus was like 2006.
And then Judgment.
Oh, wow.
Which was
Judgment was after 3.
Oh, Judgment.
Yeah.
That was
4 or PS3?
No, you're thinking of Gears of War.
Gears of War Judgment.
God of War
Ascension.
Ascension, right.
Yeah.
They came out
they came out at the same time.
Right when they finished both those trilogies off, and then they were like, one more.
Gao subtitle.
Removed from the gaming sphere, there was a university professor at Columbia, Theodolinda Barolini. So Italian.
Let's see what he has to say before I call him a nerd.
He was disappointed with the portrayal of Beatrice, claiming she was sexualized and infantilized. From what I read, I can understand that, since the core thesis of the original story is the realization that she is saving Dante, not the other way around, like a prototypical damsel in distress, as echoed by a second professor for Italian literature, Ariel Sabier at Bowdoin College.
Oh shit! They were writing girl boss fucking shit back in the 1400s.
Yeah,
love that. Move over, Princess Peach.
So sales were okay. It didn't exactly blow the doors off. The final numbers were never, formally revealed. Although it wasn't the top 10 for the month it launched. They couldn't dethrone Kratos. So I think once God of War is out, especially if you were a PS3 user, or God of War 3 rather, like I think. It's
definitely the cope game that as an Xbox owner you could have been like, no, it's not better.
I'm not sure how much a copy is these days. I don't think it's too expensive.
No.
But I know it doesn't have the For 360, it was the Platinum line, right? And then PS2 was Greatest Hits, and I don't think it managed to, rise to the levels of either of those. Today, its legacy is mostly reflected back on fondly, but not enough to greenlight a sequel. This to the dismay of fans, as the game did end on a cliffhanger. Visceral was preoccupied with Dead Space 2, EA with Battlefield, Dragon Age, Skate, Need for Speed, The Sims, Mass Effect, Rock Band, and their embarrassing, expensive reboot of Medal of Honor. And they tried that twice.
Yes.
Like
God damn, they don't know what they have.
No, but seeing this list though was so fucking like wild to me, because it was like, right, EA used to put out like 12.5 games a year. Yeah. Like now it's like
FIFA,
excluding the sports games. Yeah, is it like 1 or 2? Like
if that.
Yeah,
they still have Madden.
Yeah, Madden. Well, they lost FIFA. It's Madden NHL.
I mean, they still make FIFA. They lost the FIFA license.
Oh.
It's EA FC.
Oh, Sports FC.
Yeah,
right. There were rumors of a follow-up getting rolling in 2011 prior to being shelved. This discovered by Alex Riviello of Polygon in August 2018 when hosting an interview on another canceled project from the same devs called The Ripper.
Hell yeah, I remember The Ripper.
Yeah, an XBLA title where you play Jack the Ripper. Yeah. And here it was learned that the next entry, Purgatorio, had finished a script and went into pre-production till it was then axed without any public showings. Supposedly you were to climb Mount Purgatory.
Yep.
Who knows what the PR stunts would have been for that?
We're going to suspend your body in the air. You can't go up or down for the rest of your life.
There was also a 2D scrolling mobile version from Iron Monkey Studios. They did the Puzzle Quest series, and that
they're owned by EA.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, they did like the mobile version of The Sims and the mobile version of Need for Speed, and
right. They too got scrapped after 6 months of development to instead shift their attentions to the free-to-play ilk.
Wait, so what? So Viscera or I said Viscera.
Visceral. Yeah.
What they're defunct now?
Yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna get there in just a moment. So the former, unfortunately, that the Purgatory one is that was due to lower profits than what the publisher expected and was shooting for. Because they were seriously all in on this venture. Dante's Inferno had a high fucking budget for the era, and this needed to be a major hit, especially to recoup the cost of all the ridiculous marketing that we covered.
True.
In 2013, it was reported that a live action film adaptation was pitched and then squashed. To my surprise, they got as far as finding a distributor, Universal Pictures, producers, and a director, Fede Alvarez.
That's my dog.
The guy that made Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
right?
and the Don't Breathe movie.
And the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
Which you fucking hate.
I did.
You can kiss my grits.
I loved Rise, though.
Yeah, of course. Well, yeah, that's because that dude was what, Irish?
I think, yeah.
You hate the Spanish.
You got me after all this time. So that's kind of it for our buddy Dante.
Australian. Sorry, he wasn't Irish.
Australian?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's why I love him.
Yeah.
If you're a Mad Max fan.
Because he's a prick?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you mean cut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those lovers are still out there, including a senior animator at Naughty Dog, Tal Peleg, who in 2014 and 2018 crafted a couple of CGI fan shorts inspired by his affection of the hack and slash that couldn't quite achieve stardom. One thing is for certain, though, I doubt any single-player video game in history will ever top the absurd fucking promotional campaigns of this magnitude, nor its uniqueness. Particularly now that investment money for this stuff is so tight. I mean, could you imagine it be insane? To be honest, like as Sean brought up, I do miss it. Like, bring back the spectacle, the stunts, the stupidity. It's why I'm still sad about E3. Like, maybe don't harass women in the process, but some of that shit sounded fun. I'm fine with the harmless pranks on the press. You know,
the Dark Souls coffin demo unit where you sat in a coffin and played Dark Souls. Like good. There's no creativity with this shit anymore. It's all business. It sucks. The commercialization.
I remember an example of this. So I'm super fucking excited for this game, but they just announced Tony Hawk Skater 3+4. But one of the things that really kind of like got under my skin a bit from that reveal was like they're putting Doom Guy in the game, which is fun.
Okay,
but
crossover. Sure.
But the thing is, like, it's a pre-order bonus for the deluxe edition that costs like $30.
No, it's not a pre-order bonus.
Or sorry, it's just in the digital bundle.
In the deluxe edition.
And it's like Tony Hawk has had tons of guest skaters in the past, but they were on disc. You just had to unlock them, like Wolverine and Jango Fett and like
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man and Darth Maul and all that fun stuff. Yeah, like it's like that was cool. Shrek was in one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And here's also, who was in there before? Doom Guy. He was already a skater in 3 on PC. And like, again, that wasn't something you had to fucking have nickel and dime people for. And it's just like, man, come on.
I lost my train of thought when you were ranting.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh, the thing that pisses me off is like Taco Bell did their a conference recently, and they were talking about like their failed like chicken experimental dishes that they offered or whatever. But then they went on to talk about how Taco Bells are gonna be in the game.
And I did see that.
Some type of crossover with that. It's like, dude, I don't know. It's just like literally like. I don't know. Like I said, the commercialization of it all, it's just so...
Yeah.
I mean,
see, it was so funny how novel that was.
Yes,
in Crazy Taxi or something like that.
So often.
I liked it when it was real world. And
nothing will ever beat when Burnout Paradise had Obama billboards in it.
The only person in the entire fucking industry who knows how to do advertising well is Kojima. Because it's treated so sarcastically.
No, but it's not, though.
Not advertising. You mean product placement.
Product placement. Sorry. Product placement.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your in-game rain getting converted to Monster Energy.
Yeah. Let's not forget he just released like 10-minute trailer. And now I'm even more confused.
That's it. Our friend Andrew was like, I beat the first one. I don't know what's going on. I was like, I did too.
Now there's a date on it, so now that expedites my need to play it.
Yeah. You should. The screenshots look gorgeous. Like I don't like the cinematography. I can't wait.
He's a wacko. He always makes.
I was on the right side of the history.
I mean,
loving Death Stranding.
You're talking about the same Kojima who put Mountain Dew and Doritos in Peace Walker.
But it was a dream sequence.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really great way to like.
Yeah, we'll take your money.
Yeah. To put that in there where it's like when Snake goes to sleep, he wakes up and he's chasing.
I wanted to add a scene where he's naked for some reason, and this will be around the budget we need. Thanks.
We should do an episode on product placement. There's probably some really fun examples out there.
Yep.
Regrettably, I hate to close this out with such a downer, but we got to honor them. On October 17th, 2017, Electronic Arts, I actually wrote farts, and I think that's because I was thinking about the league. But
my name's not Electronic Farts anymore. It's Crapcom now.
Yeah.
But they frustratingly chose to shutter Visceral Games. I won't get into every detail, but it was the fault of executives who stubbornly saw the future being in live service multiplayer rather than single player titles. Whoops! So
here we are in 2025,
Yeah.
and to make a live service game that is successful and turns a profit is actually way fucking harder than you think.
Yeah. And these artists became a victim of that now proven idiotic notion. In turn, Amy Hennig, a creator of Uncharted's Project Ragtag, a heist-themed game set in the Star Wars universe in conjunction with the exclusivity deal EA formed with Disney, was killed in favor of pursuing a short-sighted, industry trends. You go, Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
I'm sure her team could have satisfied that thirst
instead
of
again, like creativity cannot is not encouraged in this industry anymore. Unfortunately, there's no more AA games. Like, you have to be a blockbuster that either makes its money back or like closes the.
You can't have a modest success anymore. Yeah.
Literally Hi-Fi Rush. Look at Tango Gameworks.
Don't remind me. And it's all collapsing right now. Like, everyone is like learning this the hard way.
Yep.
I mean, gosh, I know it's come up on here before, but the Sony's thing of like, we're going to have, how many live service games that they were like? It was like a dozen.
6 or something.
Yeah.
No, it was more than that. And then they just like.
Okay, so wait, like.
Mark my. Let me ask you guys now.
Win.
Yeah, Foam's Destruction All-Stars.
No, Foam Stars was Square.
Oh, yeah, that was Square.
But wasn't it exclusive on PlayStation?
It was.
They did a deal at the end.
But I don't think that was included in the Sony live service because they didn't develop it.
Right, fair enough.
What are the odds of fair games coming out? Marathon's
slim
probably
to none.
Gonna squeak on through, right? Post Concord. Whatever, it's bullshit. Fuck capitalism. We are Hot Button. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Amen. Fuck capitalism.
Yeah. I'm gonna end on this. Of the 9 months, 7 months.
I was gonna
the 7
ask
sins.
You
What was
it was?
Yeah. It was 9 months total. Yeah, I mean, because I guess January and February.
That was like the unbaptized, the unclean month or something.
Yeah, the unwashed.
What was your favorite?
Yeah,
the thumbnail for this.
I'll have to go with Lust.
Yeah.
No. I think the Greed was the best one.
Yeah, I
I
like that.
The Greed had the most thought put into it without being
right. It
dumb.
was like a real morality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that
Wrath was all right.
For me, that was all right. Yeah. My least favorite was Pride because they didn't understand. They didn't know how to do
assignment.
Pride.
Yeah. That's why they're like, it's a collaboration with Facebook, so.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what's more prideful and blasphemous? Reprinting Dante's Inferno with your game character on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Probably what was the Envy was the first one.
Yeah, the protest.
I mean, it is kind of
that's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah.
And I like right from the instance you brought it up, I was like, this is such bullshit.
Yeah,
but and it's like so tacky
right through that.
And like I think there's no tricks like old tricks. You know,
Gluttony wasn't bad.
Yeah, the cake. Yeah,
Envy. Yeah, Envy was pretty good.
I'll send you a picture.
The cake.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna do that now, and so I can capture your guys's in real time. Oh, well, real quick. Thank you to my sources: Gaming Bits, Yahoo Games, the Los Angeles Times, Engadget, Cinema Blend, Joystick, Kotaku, Destructoid, The Escapist, Time Magazine, DualShockers, Shack News, MotherJones.com, the Geek Feminism Fandom Wiki, Collider, Video Games Chronicle, NeoGAF, Ars Technica, Technologizer, stupid Technologizer.
The Irish Nationalist Army.
The Irish Nationalist. Wired, MTV, CNET, GameSpy, Dread Central, Variety, DC Entertainment, Deadline Hollywood, YouTube, Wikipedia, The Wayback Machine, and lastly, many kudos for giving me the idea on tackling the topic.
Wait, what was it?
Go search his channel.
The Insane Nanny Association or something?
The Insane Nanny Association. Okay, hold on. I'm going to send you guys this cake. So let me go.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. You like the big bones?
I like the garnish.
Yeah.
It almost says like, this is edible.
You know what? I can make a better looking severed limb.
I think you could. Yeah.
That's a pretty shitty cake.
Meant to be a thigh. It's big though.
Honestly, hold your judgment. That was before Is It Cake was like a huge thing.
No, you're right. Oh, the cakes today.
Yeah.
The ones that are like hyper
right,
real.
Those people existed.
Cake
technology in 2009
is insane nowadays. They can get fondant that has pores in it.
I thought it was actually bigger.
Yeah, I was expecting like a 4-tier wedding cake with like limbs poking out of it.
This would be hard to cut and serve though.
It does not look appetizing.
I don't know what the structural integrity. No, it doesn't.
Like if their goal was to send it to people and have them not eat it, I would have been one of the people that passed.
I'm gonna assume a lot of these got thrown out.
Yeah.
Now, what song should we pump in during the plugs? Ain't No Sunshine. That'd be rad if it wouldn't get DMCA'd immediately.
I mean, that hasn't stopped us before.
That's true.
We're not making money off this thing.
Yeah, I don't know why, but when I was already thinking of an outro song, and I'm just thinking about Dragula for some reason.
No, it would have to be Ain't No Sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like
I fucking love that.
The first cut, like find like.
Yeah. If you can get your hands on a copy, play Dante's Inferno. I like that game a lot.
Yeah.
And if my phone isn't lying to me, it's on backwards compatibility on Xbox.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this has inspired me to go back.
If it is on
do
backwards compatibility on Xbox, that means it's probably also included with Game Pass. Because it would be on EA Play.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I was going to ask you, EA published it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess Visceral they bought?
They own Visceral. Visceral used to be EA Redwood. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. That's where I was like, where did the IP
So it looks like this is according to the price charting site that we use that's attached with GameEye. $11 for a complete 360. $30. Oh, that's the PSP one. $30 complete for the PSP one. That one's more.
It's way more rare.
Yeah. Where's the PS3? $14. So.
Oh wow. Yeah. Affordable, especially in today's market.
Yeah. No. Wait. Wait. What the fuck? Oh, they have every. No, it's like $19.
Also.
No, it's the Divine Edition. God damn it.
Also, $15 on the Xbox store.
It's still for sale?
Yeah,
that's dope.
It's $14.99 or included with EA Play.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, this came out in Japan too, in Europe and everything.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of shocking.
It's kind of like play this because guys, guess what? GTA 6 it's gonna be $100. I've seen like 14 very reputable like TikTok accounts that are saying it's gonna be $100.
You could buy like 7 Dante's Infernos for
that. EA's bringing back the online pass where you have to pay $9.95.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. If this is your first episode, we got plenty more.
Yeah. See, last time it was sex. This time it was religion. Who knows what I'm going to bring to the table next?
Wait, you didn't call me for the sex one?
War. War. All right, we'll do a war game.
Yeah.
There's plenty of those.
Yeah.
We should do America's Army.
Thank you for listening. You can find a bunch more episodes at our website, hotbuttoncast.com. Also, all the podcast services. And you can follow our social media.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at HotButtonCast for more information on upcoming episodes.
Downloadable
when they launch.
Napster, downloadable on LimeWire.
Bear Share.
Kazaa. Yeah.
Bear Share.
Kazaa, Bear Share,
Morpheus.
Pirate Bay.
Yeah. And we'll be back with more episodes soon. We got wedding shit. For, kind of the rest of this month, but hang in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.